one story that I keep coming back to is a story of Peter walking on the water.
Yeah.
And just the imagery and like my imagination just kind of lights up with that story. I like to, sometimes like I'm going to bed and I can't sleep. I'm just like, let me just play this story through my head and I know that'll be restful. And even just to try to put myself in the moment, not like myself, but maybe like my imagination, just to picture all the details of there's this storm going on and there's the water is raging and the sky is thundering and the wind is howling. And I imagine the disciples are kind of picking at each other and they're frustrated and trying to problem solve and like, is this boat gonna sink? And then I think it's John that like nudges Peter first when they see who they think is a ghost. You're like, no, it's the Lord, it's the Master. And then like what goes on in Peter's head that he's like, I want to go out and meet him. Right. Like what point of desperation does he have to be at where like what, I don't know, like how did that idea even get into his brain?
Yeah.
Like you think he'd just be like, Jesus, come here. Like, and he's like, I want to go out and meet you. And just, I don't, that story has so much meaning because like that moment when he steps out, like imagine all the disciples in the boat are probably telling him, stop, like what are you doing? You're crazy.
Yeah.
And yet something like, I just feel like there's this desperation in him that prompts him to get out, and like he goes on the water and he's looking at Jesus and then he looks at the waves and just the metaphor of like looking at the waves of, oh man, I do that, I'll take my eyes off Jesus and then it's like I feel like I'm drowning and
start sinking,
that panic. But Jesus is so tender, because he reaches out and he corrects Peter. And I think sometimes I have this, I don't know, paradoxical relationship with correction. I'm like, correction, I don't like it. And I don't like to give it either. Like, I think that's one of my my greatest challenges of being a teacher is like giving correction. I just want to be like, good job, everyone. But just in that, like, it's the loving tenderness of Jesus where he does correct him. He's like, hey, like, have faith. Like, you have little faith, But at this invitation, this challenge into deeper faith. And it feels a little bit unfair because I'm like, Peter just got out of the boat and walked on water and like, he's saying about faith. Right. But I don't know, like, Jesus is, I just know that he must know the more that's available there in that moment for Peter. And he's inviting Peter into it. And but then he ushers him back into the boat and then he calms the waters. And I don't know, I just love the presence of Jesus in that, where it feels like he's far away, it feels like he's not there and the storm is going on. It's like, Lord, where are you? And yet he's there and like he's so personable and like just intimate in that encounter. Like he's willing to have that one-on-one encounter in that moment. So I love that story.
I love how you explained it.
My goodness, yes. Really, I was like, I could play it in like a movie in my head with the way you were saying. I'm like, you really paint a beautiful picture with your words. Wow. I mean, and I bet that it's fun to think about that when you're going to sleep and like painting that in your imagination and like really playing it out like like you're watching it like a movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that's so
that's
sweet.
the easy takeaway of how to make scripture come to life, just when anybody's trying to go to bed and they can't sleep, just take a scripture and let your imaginations go.